What would you do if someone told you that in exactly 3 seconds, your life would completely change? Comment believe or ignore. The little girl's fingers were sticky with grape jelly when she touched the Vampire King's hand. That was the first strange thing. The second was what she whispered, looking up at him with eyes too old for her 6-year-old face. The bad man is coming. 3 seconds. That's all it took for Azrael Tenebris to understand that this child wasn't making up stories, wasn't playing pretend, wasn't confused. She was telling him the future, and the future was walking through his palace doors right now. The spring market was Azrael's compromise with the modern world. Once a month, he opened the palace courtyards to humans, allowing them to sell their wares, taste vampire hospitality, and see that the legends about his cruelty were just that. Legends. It was good politics, good public relations, and it gave his people a chance to interact with humans in controlled, peaceful settings. Hundreds of vendors filled the courtyard, selling everything from fresh bread to hand-carved toys. Children ran between the stalls, laughing and sticky with sweets. Parents browsed jewelry and textiles. The smell of roasted nuts and cinnamon filled the air. Azrael walked among them, his presence causing the usual ripple of nervous energy. Humans always stiffened when he approached, their heartbeats quickening, their ancient instincts recognizing predator, even when wrapped in civilized clothing. He'd learned to move slowly, to smile gently, to make himself less threatening. The little girl had been standing beside a toy stall, staring at a wooden horse she clearly couldn't afford. Her clothes were clean but worn, carefully mended in multiple places. Her brown hair was pulled into 2 lopsided pigtails, and her shoes were a size too small, her toes pressing against the worn canvas. Azrael had seen hundreds of children today, but something about this one made him pause. She wasn't looking at the horse with the usual child's longing. She was looking at it with goodbye in her eyes, as if memorizing something she'd never see again. He'd approached the vendor, a kind-faced woman who made toys from reclaimed wood. "How much for the horse?" he'd asked. The woman had nearly dropped her carving knife when she recognized him. "Your Majesty, it's yours, a gift, please." Azrael had smiled and placed coins on the table anyway, far more than the toy was worth. Then he'd picked up the wooden horse and turned to the little girl. "What's your name?" he'd asked gently. The child had looked up at him with enormous gray eyes. "Lily," she'd whispered. Her voice was soft, careful, the voice of someone who'd learned that speaking too loud brought consequences. "This is for you, Lily." He'd held out the horse. The girl had stared at it, then at him, then back at the toy. "Why?" "Because you were looking at it like it mattered, and things that matter should belong to the people who understand them." Lily had reached for the horse with trembling hands, and that's when her jelly-sticky fingers had touched his. The world had gone white. Not dark. White. Blinding, searing white that felt like standing inside lightning. Azrael had seen flashes of images, rapid fire and overwhelming. A man's face, twisted with rage. A basement door. Chains. The smell of old blood. A knife catching light. And through it all, a sensation of wrongness so intense it made his ancient bones ache. Then the vision had released him, and he was back in the courtyard, the sounds of the market returning like a wave crashing over him. 3 seconds, maybe 4, but in that time, he'd seen enough to know. Lily still held the wooden horse, but now she was looking at him with an expression that was far too knowing. "The bad man is coming," she'd whispered, so quietly that even with his vampire hearing he barely caught it. "He's almost here. He's going to hurt people. You have to stop him." Azrael's mind raced. Children didn't have visions. Children didn't transmit images through touch. Children didn't speak with such certainty about future events. Except, apparently, this one did. "Who is the bad man?" Azrael asked, kneeling to her level. His knees pressed into the cobblestones, and around them, the market continued its cheerful chaos, unaware of the conversation happening in their midst. Lily's bottom lip trembled. "I don't know his name. I just see him sometimes. In my head. He hurts people. He likes hurting people." She clutched the wooden horse to her chest. "He's here because of you. He wants to kill you." Before Azrael could respond, before he could ask another question, he felt it. A disturbance in the air pressure, the sensation of something wrong entering his territory. His head snapped up, scanning the crowd. There, near the east entrance, a man in a long coat, walking with purpose through the market stalls. Human, but wrong somehow. The way he moved was too controlled, too focused. Everyone else was browsing, chatting, enjoying the market. This man was hunting. Azrael stood slowly, his hand finding Lily's shoulder. The child pressed close to his leg, her small body trembling. "He's the one," she whispered. "The bad man. I see fire. I see screaming. Please don't let him hurt people." The man's hand moved inside his coat, and Azrael's centuries of combat experience screamed a warning. He pulled Lily behind him and raised his other hand, a gesture that meant stop to his guards positioned throughout the courtyard. The market sounds seemed to dim, as if someone had turned down the volume on the world. The man in the coat was 20 feet away. 15. His hand emerged from his coat, holding something small and metallic. A detonator. Azrael's blood went cold. A bomb. In a courtyard full of children and families, the man smiled. And it was the smile of someone who'd already accepted their own death, who wanted only to take as many others with them as possible. "For the blood purge!" the man shouted, his thumb moving toward the button. Azrael moved faster than human eyes could track. One moment, he was standing beside Lily. The next, he had the man's wrist in his grip, twisting it back before the thumb could complete its arc. The detonator clattered to the cobblestones. The man tried to fight, but Azrael's other hand found his throat, lifting him off the ground with effortless strength. Around them, the market erupted into chaos. People screamed. Parents grabbed their children. Vendors abandoned their stalls. Azrael's guards converged, creating a perimeter, shouting orders to evacuate calmly. The man in Azrael's grip was choking, his face turning purple, but his eyes held only hatred. No fear. No regret. Just pure, distilled loathing. "Where's the bomb?" Azrael demanded, his voice carrying the weight of 8 centuries of authority. The man just smiled wider, blood trickling from where he'd bitten his own tongue. Azrael felt the human's heartbeat beginning to slow, felt him starting to lose consciousness. He loosened his grip slightly. A small voice spoke from behind him. "Under the fountain," Lily said. "The big one with the angels. It's under there." Azrael turned his head. The little girl stood exactly where he'd left her, still clutching her wooden horse, tears streaming down her face. But her eyes had gone distant, unfocused, seeing something beyond the present moment. "There's 2 more men," she continued, in that same flat, trance-like voice. "One by the south gate, one in the bakery stall. They all have buttons. They're all going to push them at the same time." Azrael's second in command, Marcus, appeared at his shoulder. A tall vampire with silver in his hair and scars that spoke of old wars. "Sir, get everyone out," Azrael commanded, shoving the bomber into Marcus's arms. "South gate, main fountain, bakery stall. Bombs at all 3 locations. 2 more detonators somewhere in this crowd. And get the bomb squad here now." Marcus didn't waste time asking how he knew. He simply nodded, and began barking orders into his communication device. The evacuation became more organized, guards directing people toward the north and west exits, away from the 3 danger zones. Azrael turned back to Lily. The girl had collapsed to her knees, still holding the horse, her whole body shaking. He scooped her up without thinking, cradling her against his chest. She was so light, so small, and she'd just saved hundreds of lives. "I see them," Lily whispered against his shoulder. "I see everything bad before it happens. It hurts. It hurts so much." Azrael ran toward the fountain, moving at human speed so he wouldn't terrify the child in his arms. The massive marble fountain dominated the courtyard's center, water cascading from the hands of carved angels. If there was a bomb underneath, it would take out half the market. He set Lily down on a bench near the edge of the courtyard. "Stay here," he commanded gently. "Don't move." She nodded, her gray eyes huge in her pale face. Azrael approached the fountain. His bomb disposal team was already arriving, humans in protective gear carrying equipment. But they'd take minutes to set up, and minutes might be all the conspirators needed. He dropped to his knees beside the fountain's base, peering into the space between the marble foundation and the cobblestones. There, a package wrapped in black plastic, wires visible, a small red light blinking steadily. His phone vibrated. Marcus's voice came through terse and controlled. "Found the other 2. Southgate bomber in custody. Bakery bomber tried to run. We caught him. Both devices located, awaiting your orders." Azrael stared at the bomb in front of him. He could see the timer now. 2 minutes, 37 seconds. "Hold them," he said. "Don't let anyone near any of the devices. Evacuate to minimum safe distance." The bomb squad approached, but their leader, a grizzled human named Torres, who'd worked with the palace for years, shook his head when he saw the device. "Your Majesty, we can't disarm this in time. It's too sophisticated. We need to evacuate further and let it blow." "How many casualties if it detonates?" Azrael asked. Torres looked at the fountain, calculating. "We've cleared most of the area, but we've got vendors still packing up. Guards securing the perimeter. Could be anywhere from 10 to 30 people in the blast radius. Too many. Far too many." Azrael made his decision. "Everyone back. Now." Torres started to protest, but the look on Azrael's face stopped him. The bomb squad retreated, along with the remaining guards. The courtyard was nearly empty now. Just scattered belongings left behind in the rushed evacuation. 1 minute, 42 seconds. Azrael closed his eyes and did something he hadn't done in decades. He let his power out fully, dropping the careful control he maintained around humans. The temperature plummeted. Frost spread from where he knelt, racing across the cobblestones in crystalline patterns. The water in the fountain froze solid mid-cascade, creating a sculpture of ice and suspended motion. He focused everything he had on the bomb, on the explosive material inside, on the chemical reactions waiting to happen. Cold. Absolute, complete, cellular-level cold. 53 seconds. The plastic casing of the bomb cracked as ice formed inside it. The wires became brittle. The explosive material itself began to change, its molecular structure altering under the supernatural freeze. 30 seconds. Azrael poured more power into it, so much cold that his own hands were turning blue, frost forming on his eyelashes. 20 seconds. The timer stopped. Not because it had been disarmed, but because the electronics had frozen so completely that electricity could no longer flow through them. 10 seconds, that didn't count down. 5. 1. Nothing. Azrael opened his eyes. The bomb was a solid block of ice, completely inert, dangerous only in the way any chunk of frozen material was dangerous. The bomb squad approached cautiously. "Holy hell," Torres breathed. You froze it solid. Azrael stood, his knees aching from kneeling on frozen cobblestones. His phone vibrated again. Marcus's voice was shaken. Sir, I don't know what you did, but both other devices just froze solid. Timer stopped. We're bringing in containment now. Good, Azrael said. Secure the bombers. I want to know everything. Who sent them, who funded them, who built the devices. Everything. Already on it, sir. Azrael turned to find Lily. The little girl was exactly where he'd left her, sitting on the bench, clutching her wooden horse. But now a woman sat beside her, young and clearly terrified, her arm around Lily's shoulders. The woman jumped to her feet when Azrael approached. Your Majesty, I'm so sorry. I turned my back for 1 second, and Lily wandered off. I've been looking everywhere. She's not in trouble, Azrael said gently. What's your name? Sarah Chen, the woman said quickly. I'm Lily's caseworker, from Mercy House Children's Home. We bring the kids to the market once a month. It's a field trip. Azrael looked down at Lily. The girl's eyes had regained their focus, but she looked exhausted, dark circles visible under her eyes. You live at Mercy House? He asked. Lily nodded. For 2 years, since my mama died. She held up the wooden horse. Thank you for the horse. You saved everyone, Azrael said. You warned me. How did you know? Lily's expression turned sad, ancient wisdom in a child's face. I always know when bad things are coming. I see them, in my dreams. When I touch people sometimes, nobody believes me usually. Sarah Chen's face had gone pale. Lily, you told the Vampire King about the bad men? The little girl nodded. They had bombs. I saw it this morning in my dream. 3 men with buttons. I tried to tell you, but you said I was making up stories again. Sarah looked stricken. Oh, God. Lily, I'm so sorry. I just thought. She turned to Azrael, tears in her eyes. She does this. She says she sees things that are going to happen. We've taken her to doctors, therapists. Everyone says it's trauma response from losing her mother, that she's creating narratives to feel like she has control. But what if we've been wrong this whole time? Azrael knelt in front of Lily again. Tell me about the dreams. The girl clutched her wooden horse tighter. They come when I'm sleeping. Sometimes when I'm awake. I see bad things before they happen. Like when Mr. Patterson at the home was going to fall down the stairs. I told Miss Sarah he should use the elevator, but nobody listened. He fell the next day and broke his hip, or when the kitchen was going to catch fire. I saw it 3 days before. I told everyone, but they said I was attention-seeking. She looked down at her worn shoes. The fire happened. Nobody got hurt, but the kitchen burned. After that, they stopped listening at all. How long have you had these visions? Azrael asked. Since Mama died, Lily said. She got sick. Cancer. I dreamed she was going to go to heaven, and then she did. After that, I started seeing other things too. Bad things, mostly. Sometimes I see happy things, but not very much. Sarah was crying openly now. We've been treating her like she's disturbed, making her see therapists who try to convince her she's imagining things. Oh, Lily, I'm so sorry. Azrael's mind was racing. Precognition was rare, even among supernatural beings. A human child with genuine prophetic abilities was almost unheard of. And if she'd been having visions for 2 years, with no one believing her, no wonder she looked so exhausted. The weight of knowing the future, with no power to change it, would crush anyone, let alone a 6-year-old. I need to speak with the director of Mercy House, Azrael said, standing. Sarah, would you and Lily be willing to come to my office? The caseworker nodded, wiping her eyes. Of course, Your Majesty. Whatever you need. The walk through the palace was quiet. Azrael led them through corridors that were rapidly filling with off-duty guards, servants who'd heard about the attack, officials demanding information. He ignored them all, focused on getting Lily somewhere safe and quiet. His private office was in the East Wing, a room lined with bookshelves and dominated by a massive desk that had witnessed 8 centuries of decisions. He gestured Sarah and Lily to comfortable chairs near the fireplace, then picked up his phone. The director of Mercy House Children's Home answered on the second ring. "Director Morrison, this is Azrael Tenebris." There was a long pause. "Your Majesty, is everything all right? One of your children, Lily, she just saved hundreds of lives at the spring market. I need to know everything about her. Her history, her medical records, her living situation. Everything." Another pause. "Lily, the girl who claims to see the future?" Azrael's voice went cold. "The girl who does see the future, Director. Her visions prevented a terrorist attack. 3 bombs, dozens of potential casualties. She knew about all of it before it happened." "I see," the director said slowly. "And you want her records because I'm considering offering her a position here at the palace," Azrael said, the decision forming even as he spoke it. A child with genuine precognitive abilities could be invaluable to palace security. But more than that, she needs people who will believe her, protect her, help her develop her gift instead of medicating it away. "Your Majesty, she's a troubled child. Her mother's death was traumatic. She acts out, tells elaborate stories, demands attention. We've tried everything, but she's simply not adjusting well to institutional care." "Send me her files," Azrael commanded. "All of them. And Director Morrison, if I find that this child has been neglected or dismissed because no one would listen to her gift, we're going to have a very different conversation." He hung up before the director could respond. Sarah was staring at him. "You want Lily to live here? At the palace?" Azrael looked at the little girl. She'd fallen asleep in the chair, her wooden horse clutched to her chest, exhaustion finally claiming her. "She saved lives today. She's been saving lives for 2 years, trying to warn people and no one would listen. That ends now." "But she's just a child," Sarah protested. "She needs school, friends, normalcy. She's a child with a supernatural gift that's been treated as a mental illness," Azrael countered. "How is that normal? Here, she could be trained, protected, valued for what she is instead of punished for it." Sarah looked at Lily, conflict clear on her face. "I'm her caseworker. I'm supposed to advocate for what's best for her. Is living in a vampire palace really what's best?" "That's what I need you to help me figure out," Azrael said. "You clearly care about her. You've been trying to help her within the limits of what you understood. Now we know more. Now we can do better." A knock interrupted them. Marcus entered, carrying a folder. "Sir, preliminary reports on the bombers. They're all members of the Blood Purge movement, human supremacists who want vampires eliminated. This was supposed to be a statement attack. Kill you, kill the humans who collaborate with you. Spark a war between our species." Azrael took the folder. "How did they get the bombs into the palace?" "We're still investigating, but it looks like they posed as vendors. Set up legitimate businesses months ago just to get access to the market. Long-term planning, significant funding. This wasn't amateur hour." Azrael flipped through the reports, his expression growing darker. "And if Lily hadn't warned me, they would have succeeded." Marcus glanced at the sleeping child. "The precog kid? She's legitimate?" "Completely," Azrael confirmed. "I saw her vision when she touched me. Full sensory detail, perfect accuracy. She's the real thing." Marcus let out a low whistle. That's remarkable. Also terrifying. What 6-year-old should have to see that much tragedy?" "Exactly," Azrael said. which is why I'm bringing her here. She needs training, protection, and people who understand what she's dealing with." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "You know the council is going to have opinions about a human child living in the palace." "Let them have opinions," Azriel said. "I'm not asking permission." Sarah spoke up. "I need to know she'll be safe. That this isn't just about using her abilities, that someone will actually care about her as a person." Azriel's expression softened. "I have a son, Kieran. He's 7, and he's deaf. For years, I struggled to communicate with him, to understand his world. Then someone taught me that different doesn't mean broken, that abilities and disabilities exist on spectrums, and our job isn't to fix children. It's to help them thrive exactly as they are." He gestured to Lily, still sleeping peacefully in the chair. "This child has a gift that's been treated as a curse. I want to help her see it differently. And yes, her abilities could help protect people. But more importantly, she deserves to live somewhere she's believed, valued, and safe." Sarah's eyes filled with tears again. "When can she move in?" "Let me get the paperwork started," Azriel said. "It'll take a few days to navigate the fostering regulations. In the meantime, I'd like to visit Mercy House, see her current living situation, meet with her therapists." Sarah nodded. "I'll arrange it. And Your Majesty, thank you for listening to her, for believing her." "Someone should have believed her 2 years ago," Azriel said quietly. "I'm just grateful she gave me the chance to make it right." Over the next 3 days, Azriel learned everything about Lily's short, difficult life. Her mother, Catherine Morrison, had been a single parent, working 2 jobs to make ends meet. When the cancer diagnosis came, she'd fought hard, but the disease had been aggressive. Lily had been 4 when her mother died. With no other family, she'd gone into the foster system. Mercy House was clean, well-funded, and well-intentioned, but it was also understaffed and overwhelmed. 23 children, ranging from infants to teenagers, all needing care, attention, and healing from their various traumas. Lily had been labeled a problem child almost immediately. The visions had started within weeks of her mother's death, and her insistence on warning people about dangers they couldn't see had been interpreted as attention-seeking behavior. Azriel read through therapy notes that made his ancient blood boil. Patient continues to fabricate elaborate scenarios. Recommend increased supervision and possible medication for anxiety-induced delusions. Patient's claims of seeing the future represent an unhealthy coping mechanism. Treatment focused on grounding in reality. Patient refuses to accept that her visions are not real. Consider more intensive psychological intervention. No one had ever considered that the child might be telling the truth. On the 3rd day, Azriel received custody approval. The human courts had fast-tracked the process after his personal appeal, and perhaps after several generous donations to the underfunded foster system. Lily would become his ward, living at the palace under his protection. Sarah brought Lily to the palace on a gray afternoon. The little girl carried everything she owned in a single small suitcase. Her wooden horse was tucked under her arm, the only toy that truly belonged to her. Azriel met them in the entrance hall, and this time, Kieran was with him. His son had been fascinated by the story of the girl who could see the future, signing questions about her for days. The 2 children stared at each other for a long moment. Kieran signed something, and Azriel translated. "He wants to know if you can really see what's going to happen." Lily nodded shyly. "Sometimes. Not always. But when I do, it's always true." Kieran's face lit up. He signed rapidly, his hands flying. "Can you see if I'm going to get a puppy? Because I've been asking Father for months, and he keeps saying maybe, but maybe isn't yes or no, and I want to know." Azriel translated with a slight smile. "Despite everything, The boy's priorities remained firmly focused on acquiring a dog. Lily's expression grew distant, that unfocused look Azrael was learning to recognize. After a moment, she smiled. Yes, a golden one, in 3 months. Kieran whooped silently and threw his arms around his father. See, even Lily says I'm getting a puppy. You can't argue with someone who sees the future. Azrael caught Lily's eye over his son's head and raised an eyebrow. Really? A golden puppy in 3 months? Lily grinned, and it was the first real smile Azrael had seen from her. I don't know. I just thought he should have hope. Sometimes hope is more important than truth. Azrael laughed, surprised and delighted by the child's wisdom. Come on then, both of you. Let me show you your new home. Lily's room was in the family wing, next to Kieran's. It had been decorated based on the few things Sarah had told them about the girls' preferences. Soft purple walls, bookshelves already stocked with stories, a window seat overlooking the night gardens. And on the bed, a collection of stuffed animals that made Lily gasp. Are those all for me? She whispered. All for you, Azrael confirmed. And if you don't like anything, we can change it. This is your space now. Your home. Lily walked around the room slowly, touching everything as if afraid it might disappear. When she reached the window seat, she climbed up and pressed her face against the glass. It's so pretty. I've never had a pretty room before. Kieran scrambled up beside her and signed something. He says the gardens are even better at night, Azrael translated, when the flowers that only bloom in darkness open up. He says he'll show you later if you want. Lily looked at the boy beside her, and something passed between them. A recognition, perhaps. 2 children who'd both been treated as different, as difficult, as problems to be solved rather than people to be understood. Okay, she signed, copying the gesture she'd seen Kieran use. Kieran beamed and signed back rapidly. Too fast for Lily to follow, but his enthusiasm needed no translation. Over the next few weeks, Lily settled into palace life with surprising ease. She attended lessons with Kieran, learning sign language and regular academics from the tutors Azrael employed. She explored the palace, always accompanied by guards, who'd been briefed on her abilities and told to take any warnings she gave them seriously. And the visions continued. She predicted a minor fire in the kitchen 2 days before it happened, allowing them to repair the faulty wiring. She warned a guard that his car brakes were going to fail, potentially saving his life. She told Azrael that a visiting diplomat was going to try to poison him, and security found the toxin hidden in the man's briefcase. But along with the warnings came something new. Lily started having happy visions too. She told the head gardener that her daughter was going to have twins, bringing joy to the woman who'd been hoping for grandchildren. She informed Mrs. Thorne that her estranged sister was going to reach out, wanting to reconcile. She told Kieran that yes, he really was getting a golden puppy, and Azrael had already put in the application at the breeder. 1 month after Lily arrived, Azrael found her sitting in the library, tears streaming down her face. He approached cautiously, sitting in the chair beside her. What's wrong? He asked gently. Lily wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I had a vision about you, and it was bad. Azrael's protective instincts flared. What did you see? There's a woman, Lily said. She's coming here in 2 weeks. She's going to try to hurt you, but she's also really, really sad. And if you're mean to her, something worse is going to happen. But if you're nice to her, if you listen to her, something good comes instead. Azrael frowned. That's not a very clear vision. Usually you see exact details. Lily shook her head. This one was fuzzy, like it's not decided yet. Like there's 2 different roads, and which one happens depends on what you do. That's new, Azrael said. Your visions are usually fixed events. Maybe not everything is fixed, Lily suggested. Maybe some things can change depending on the choices people make. She looked up at him with those two old eyes. I think the universe wanted me to tell you this one, so you could choose the good road instead of the bad one. Can you tell me anything else about this woman? She has brown hair, Lily said, and green eyes, and she's wearing a red coat. She's human, but she knows about vampires. She's scared of you, but she's coming anyway because she's brave. And she lost someone important. Azrael filed the information away. I'll be ready. And Lily? Thank you for trusting me with this. The girl smiled tremulously. That's what family does, right? Warns each other about bad things? Yes, Azrael said, pulling her into a gentle hug. That's exactly what family does. 2 weeks later, a woman appeared at the palace gates. She wore a red coat and had brown hair pulled into a nervous ponytail. Her green eyes were determined despite the fear Azrael could smell rolling off her in waves. The guards brought her to his office and Azrael gestured for her to sit. Lily's vision had put him on alert, but he kept his expression neutral, non-threatening. Your name? He asked. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the woman said. Her voice shook slightly but held. I'm a researcher. I study supernatural phenomena. Specifically, I study vampire attacks. Azrael's expression hardened. So you've come to accuse me of something. Elena flinched but didn't back down. No, I've come to ask for help. My sister was killed 3 months ago. The police said it was an animal attack, but I know it wasn't. It was a vampire. And before you say vampires don't attack humans anymore, I know most don't. I know you've created laws, protections, treaties, but there are rogues. Vampires who don't follow your rules. Azrael leaned forward. You're right. There are rogues. And when we find them, we eliminate them. What makes you think I can help find the one who killed your sister? Because I've tracked him, Elena said, pulling papers from her bag. I've found 5 other victims over the past year. All women. All attacked in similar ways. All in cities along the Eastern Corridor. She spread photos across his desk. Crime scene images. Brutally graphic. Your rogue is hunting systematically. And human law enforcement has no idea how to stop him. But you could. Azrael studied the photos, his expression growing darker. He recognized the kill patterns. Cruel. Excessive. Designed to terrify rather than merely feed. This wasn't a vampire trying to survive. This was a vampire who enjoyed the hunt. Why come to me? Elena asked. Why not try to hunt him yourself? Because I'm one human woman with no combat training and no supernatural abilities, Elena said bluntly. I'm smart enough to know I'd be his next victim. But you're the vampire king. You have resources, soldiers, authority, and according to my research, you actually care about preventing this kind of thing. Lily's words echoed in Azrael's mind. If you're nice to her, if you listen to her, something good comes instead. He made his choice. I'll help you, he said. But I need you to stay here at the palace while we hunt him. You've made yourself a target by investigating. If he realizes you're tracking him, he'll come for you. Elena's eyes widened. Stay here, at the vampire palace? You want to catch this rogue or not? Azrael asked. I can't protect you if you're out there exposed. Here, you're safe. Plus, you can work with my research team. Share your data. Help us build a profile. Elena looked at the photos of her sister, and something fierce entered her expression. Okay, I'll stay. Good, Azrael said. He pressed a button on his desk, and Mrs. Thorne appeared moments later. Please prepare a guest room in the East Wing. Dr. Vasquez will be staying with us indefinitely. As Mrs. Thorne led Elena away, Lily appeared in the doorway. Azrael hadn't even heard her approach. You chose the good road, the little girl said, satisfied. Now the good things can start happening. What good things? Asriel asked. Lily just smiled mysteriously. You'll see, when the future's not finished being written yet. Over the next few days, Elena settled into the palace. She was brilliant, focused, driven by grief, but not consumed by it. She worked closely with Asriel's security team, analyzing the rogue vampire's patterns, predicting where he might strike next. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, something shifted between her and Asriel. It started with late-night strategy sessions in his office. Both of them bent over maps and reports. Elena would challenge his assumptions, push back on his ideas, treat him like a partner rather than a terrifying legend. It was refreshing. It was intoxicating. It was dangerous. One evening, Lily found them in the library. Elena was teaching Asriel about modern forensic techniques, and he was teaching her about vampire physiology, how to identify different types of supernatural beings. The little girl climbed into the chair between them and signed something. She says you two look happy together, Asriel translated for Elena, and that happy is good. The future likes happy. Elena laughed, surprised. The future likes happy? That's adorable. Lily's expression turned serious. She signed again, and this time Asriel's translation was slower, more careful. She says the bad things in her visions get smaller when people choose to be happy instead of angry. That choosing kindness makes the future brighter, literally brighter, like the visions have more light in them. Elena looked at the 6-year-old with new respect. That's profound. Lily shrugged and signed something else. What did she say? Elena asked. She said it's not profound, it's just true, Asriel translated, and that we should stop talking about the future and help her and Kieran build a blanket fort, because that's also true and also important. The blanket fort became legendary. Constructed in the palace's main sitting room, using every spare sheet, cushion, and chair they could find, it sprawled across the entire space like a fabric labyrinth. Kieran directed operations with enthusiastic sign language, while Lily provided structural advice based on what she claimed was a vision of the perfect fort. Elena and Asriel found themselves taking orders from a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old, and somehow, it was exactly what they both needed. After the fort was complete, and the children had been put to bed, Elena and Asriel sat in his office, both of them covered in blanket lint and smiling. I can't remember the last time I laughed like that, Elena admitted. Before Maria died, everything was about the investigation, finding answers, getting justice. But tonight, building a fort with kids and a vampire king, it felt like maybe I could be human again. You've always been human, Asriel said. Grief doesn't change that. It just changes how we experience being human. Elena looked at him. Can I ask you something personal? Asriel nodded. You loved someone once, didn't you? Your son's mother. What happened to her? She died in childbirth, Asriel said quietly. Her name was Lydia. She was brilliant, kind, fearless. And I couldn't save her, despite all my power, all my resources. I've spent the past 7 years making sure Kieran knows his mother would have loved him fiercely. I'm sorry, Elena said. Losing someone you love, it leaves a hole that doesn't close, or it just becomes part of your geography. You learn to navigate around it. That's exactly it, Asriel agreed. And sometimes you meet someone who understands that geography, who doesn't try to fill the hole or pretend it doesn't exist. They just walk beside you, acknowledging the landscape. Their eyes met, and the air between them changed, charged with something neither had expected to feel again. Before either could speak, Lily appeared in the doorway in her pajamas. I had a vision, she announced. And you're both in it, so I thought I should tell you. What did you see? Asriel asked gently. Lily climbed into Elena's lap without hesitation. the little girl having formed a quick attachment to the kind researcher. I saw you two together, like together, being happy, and I saw the bad vampire getting caught, and I saw Kieran's puppy, and I saw me being adopted for real, not just fostered. She yawned. It was a good vision, the best kind. When? Elena asked. Soon, Lily said sleepily. All the good things happen soon. She fell asleep right there in Elena's lap, her head on the researcher's shoulder. Azrael looked at the woman holding his ward, and something in his chest cracked open. The hole where Lydia had been would always exist. But maybe there was room for new love alongside the old. Maybe Elena was right about learning to navigate the landscape. We should talk, he said quietly, about what this is becoming. Tomorrow, Elena agreed, gently stroking Lily's hair. Tonight, let's just sit with the possibility. They sat in comfortable silence while Lily slept, the future unfolding around them in ways neither could predict, but both were willing to trust. The hunt for the rogue vampire intensified. Using Elena's research and Lily's visions, they narrowed down his likely location. The child had seen a warehouse, abandoned and covered in graffiti. She'd described specific symbols, and Elena had matched them to a district on the eastern edge of the city. Azrael assembled a team. Marcus would lead the tactical unit. Elena would provide strategic support from the palace, coordinating with human law enforcement. And Lily, despite her protests, would stay safely behind with Kieran and Mrs. Thorne. The night of the raid, Lily grabbed Azrael's hand before he left. Be careful, she said. I saw you winning, but I also saw you getting hurt. Sometimes both things happen at the same time. I'll be careful, Azrael promised. You keep an eye on Kieran and Elena for me. Lily nodded seriously. I will, Sheun, and when you come back, we're all going to celebrate. I saw that too. The vision was clear. Cake and everything. The warehouse was exactly as Lily had described. Graffiti covered the walls, the specific symbols matching her description perfectly. Marcus deployed his team with military precision, surrounding the building, cutting off escape routes. Azrael entered alone, using his speed and centuries of combat experience to navigate the dark interior. He found the rogue in the basement, a young vampire, no more than 50 years old, surrounded by trophies from his kills. Jewelry, clothing, photographs. He'd been collecting souvenirs, savoring his murders. The fight was brutal, but brief. The rogue was fast and vicious, but Azrael had 8 centuries of experience and righteous anger on his side. When it ended, the rogue was restrained, then barely conscious, and Azrael's shoulder was bleeding from a knife wound. Marcus appeared with reinforcements. We've got him, sir, and law enforcement is outside. Dr. Vasquez coordinated everything perfectly. Charges are being filed both in vampire and human courts. Good, Azrael said, pressing a hand to his bleeding shoulder. Get him processed. I want every victim identified, every family notified. This ends tonight. Back at the palace, Elena was waiting in the entrance hall. She ran to Azrael when she saw the blood, her hands immediately reaching for his wound. You're hurt. It's nothing, Azrael assured her. Already healing. Elena, we got him. It's over. Elena's knees buckled, and Azrael caught her, holding her as she cried. For her sister. For all the victims. For the weight she'd been carrying for 3 months. He held her, and somewhere in that embrace, they both acknowledged what had been building between them. I need to tell you something, Elena said when she could speak again. I came here for justice, but I'm staying for you, for Kieran, for Lily, for this strange, impossible family you're building. Azrael cupped her face in his hands. I never thought I'd feel this way again. Never thought I deserved to. I don't want to replace Lydia, Elena said. I just want to stand beside you, build something new. You're not replacing anyone, Azrael said. You're adding to us, making us bigger, stronger, more complete. He kissed her, and it was gentle and certain and right. When they pulled apart, they found Lily and Kieran watching from the stairs, the little girl signing frantically while Kieran covered his mouth to hide his smile. "I told you," Lily signed, her small hands moving with satisfaction. "I saw this in my vision. The good road." Kieran signed something, and Azrael translated for Elena. "He says it's about time. He's been watching you two dance around each other for weeks, and it was getting ridiculous." "You're 7, Azrael said, trying to sound stern but failing to hide his smile. "How do you know about dancing around each other?" Kieran grinned and signed back. "I watch a lot of TV when you think I'm napping." Elena laughed, the sound bright and free. "Come here, both of you." She held out her arms, and both children rushed down the stairs. The 4 of them stood in the entrance hall, wrapped in a group embrace, and Azrael felt something he hadn't felt in years: completeness. The announcement of Azrael's relationship with Elena caused ripples through both vampire and human society. A vampire king dating a human researcher who'd lost her sister to a rogue vampire. The story was irresistible to media outlets. But what could have been a scandal became something else entirely when Elena gave her first interview. "Yes, I loved my sister," she said to the cameras. "Yes, I wanted justice. But I've learned that justice isn't the same as vengeance. Azrael and his people helped me find my sister's killer. They gave me closure, protected me, and showed me that vampires aren't a monolith. Some are violent, some are kind, just like humans." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "And along the way, I fell in love with a man who happens to be a vampire. A man who's raising 2 incredible children. A man who taught me that family isn't about blood or species. It's about who shows up, who cares, who stays." The interview went viral. Suddenly, Elena wasn't a tragic figure or a scandal. She was a symbol of bridge building, of choosing understanding over fear. Lily watched the interview from the couch, Kieran beside her, both children eating popcorn. "She's good at talking," Lily signed. Kieran agreed enthusiastically. "Father looks happy, happier than I've seen him in forever." Lily nodded. "Because the future is getting brighter. I can see it, all the good things lining up. But we have to help too. We can't just wait for good things to happen. We have to make them happen." "What do you mean?" Kieran signed. Lily's expression turned serious. "There are other kids like me. Kids who see things, who know things, who are different. And nobody believes them. They get called crazy or attention-seeking, just like I was." She set down her popcorn. "We should help them. Find them. Show them they're not alone." Kieran's eyes lit up, like a school. "For special kids." "Exactly," Lily signed back. "A place where being different isn't scary. Where you can learn to use your gifts. Where people believe you." The next morning, the children presented their idea to Azrael and Elena over breakfast. "A school," Lily explained, "for children with supernatural abilities. Prophecy, telepathy, empathy. All the things humans usually say aren't real." Kieran signed his additions. "And for kids with disabilities, because his sign language tutors had taught him about deaf schools, about blind schools, about how sometimes people need specialized education to thrive." Azrael and Elena exchanged glances. "That's ambitious," Elena said carefully. "It would require funding, staffing, facilities, legal approval." "But it's not impossible," Azrael finished. "In fact, it's brilliant." He looked at Lily. "You were failed by the system. Instead of letting that make you bitter, you want to fix the system for others. That's remarkable." "Can we do it?" Lily asked. "Really do it?" "We can try," Elena said. "It'll take time, maybe years. But if you're willing to be patient, we can build something incredible." The Oracle Academy, as it came to be called, started small. Asriel purchased a building near the palace, and Elena led the effort to retrofit it for children with various needs. They hired teachers who specialized in supernatural education, therapists who understood psychic abilities, sign language interpreters, accessibility specialists. The first student arrived 6 months later, a boy named Jasper, who could sense emotions so strongly he couldn't function in regular school. The overwhelming feelings of 30 classmates had given him panic attacks so severe he'd stopped attending entirely. Lily met him at the door, taking his hand. "I know it's scary," she said. "Feeling too much, seeing too much, knowing too much. But here, that's not wrong. That's just who you are." Jasper looked at her with wide eyes. "You understand?" "I see the future," Lily said simply. "Kieran is deaf. Everyone here is different somehow. That's what makes us the same." More students came. A girl who could move objects with her mind. A boy who could communicate with animals. A teenager who could see ghosts. Each one had been ostracized, medicated, or dismissed by conventional society. Each one found acceptance at the Oracle Academy. Lily thrived in her role as unofficial welcomer. She'd greet each new student, share her story, show them they weren't alone. And her visions continued, guiding the school's development, warning about problems before they arose, celebrating victories before they happened. 1 year after Elena arrived at the palace, Asriel proposed. Not with fanfare or public spectacle, but quietly, in the night garden where they'd first kissed. Elena said yes before he'd finished asking. The wedding was small, held in the palace chapel, with only close friends and family. Lily and Kieran served as joint ring bearers, arguing in sign language about who got to hold the rings first, until Elena diplomatically gave them each a ring to carry. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, Lily stood up. Everyone froze. Then the 6-year-old signed, "I saw this wedding in a vision a year ago, and it was perfect, so no, I don't object. Carry on." The congregation erupted in laughter, and the ceremony continued. At the reception, Lily pulled Elena aside. "Thank you," the little girl said. "For what?" Elena asked. "For choosing the good road," Lily said. "When you first came here, the future was fuzzy. It could have gone bad. You could have been angry, could have blamed Asriel for what the rogue did, could have let grief make you cruel. But you chose kindness instead. And look what happened." She gestured to the celebration around them. "All of this. The school, the family, the happy. This is what choosing the good road looks like." Elena knelt down, pulling Lily into a hug. "You gave me that choice. You and Kieran and Asriel. You showed me what family could be." Lily hugged back fiercely. "I had a new vision last night. Want to hear it?" "Always," Elena said. "I saw you and Father having a baby, a little girl. She's going to have your brown hair and his silver eyes, and she's going to be able to see the future too, but not scary futures. Happy ones. She'll only see good things coming." Elena's breath caught. "Really?" Lily pulled back, grinning. "Really? In about 7 months. So you should probably start thinking about names." Elena laughed through sudden tears, pressing a hand to her stomach. "Does Asriel know?" "Not yet," Lily said. "I wanted you to know first, so you could tell him in your own time. But he's going to be so happy. I saw that too." 3 months later, Elena's pregnancy was confirmed, and the palace erupted in celebration. Asriel was indeed over the moon, constantly worried and excited in equal measure. Kieran was thrilled at the prospect of a little sister, already planning how he'd teach her sign language. And Lily walked around with a satisfied expression, reminding everyone that she'd predicted this. The Oracle Academy continued to grow. By the end of its first year, they had 15 students. By the end of the second year, 43. Word spread through supernatural and human communities alike. If you had a child who was different, gifted, struggling, the Oracle Academy would help. Dr. Sarah Chen, Lily's former caseworker, joined the staff as the director of student services. She'd been so impressed by what Azriel and Elena had built that she'd left Mercy House to be part of it. I spent years telling Lily her visions weren't real, Sarah said during her first staff meeting. I'll spend the rest of my career making sure no child is dismissed like that again. The school attracted attention from researchers, policymakers, and educators worldwide. Elena published papers on supernatural child development. Azriel hosted conferences on integrating gifted students into society. The Oracle Academy became a model for a new kind of education, but it wasn't without challenges. Some parents were afraid. Some communities resented the school's existence. And there were still those who believed supernatural abilities should be hidden, suppressed, or eliminated. One evening, Lily came to Azriel's office, her expression troubled. I had a bad vision, she said. About the school? Azriel asked immediately. About everything, Lily said. There are people who don't like what we're doing. They think kids like us are dangerous. They're planning something. When? Soon, Lily said. In the next few weeks. But it's fuzzy again. Like there are choices still being made. She looked up at him with worried eyes. I don't want the school to close. So many kids need it. It won't close, Azriel assured her. We'll protect it. Tell me everything you saw. Over the next hour, Lily described her vision. Protesters outside the school. Media coverage, mostly negative. A politician giving a speech about the dangers of supernatural children. And then, the fuzzy part. A confrontation that could go multiple ways. If we respond with anger, it gets worse, Lily explained. If we respond with fear, it gets worse. But if we respond with understanding, with education, with showing people instead of telling them, the future gets brighter. Show them what? Elena asked, entering the office with Kieran. Lily turned to her. Show them what the kids can do. Not the scary stuff, the good stuff. How Jasper can sense when someone's sad and comfort them. How Maya can find lost objects for people. How Thomas can predict weather and help farmers. How all of us can make the world better, not worse. Kieran signed something enthusiastically. He says we should have an open house, Azriel translated. Let people come see the school, meet the students, understand what we're really doing here. Elena nodded slowly. That's not a bad idea. Controlled environment, positive messaging, real human or supernatural connection. We could invite the media, the politicians who've been critical, community leaders. Lily smiled. That knowing expression that meant she'd seen this possibility in her vision. That's the good road. That's the one that makes everything brighter. The Oracle Academy open house was scheduled for 3 weeks later. In that time, the staff and students prepared intensively, not rehearsing or hiding, but simply organizing how to best share their authentic experiences. Jasper volunteered to demonstrate his empathic abilities. Maya offered to help visitors find lost items they'd misplaced. Thomas would present his weather prediction data, showing how accurate he'd been over the past 6 months. And Lily would share her story, how she'd been dismissed, medicated, and disbelieved before finding a place where her gift was valued. The night before the open house, Lily had trouble sleeping. She appeared in Elena and Azriel's room, Kieran trailing behind her. We couldn't sleep, she signed. Too nervous about tomorrow. Elena, now 6 months pregnant and showing, made room on the bed for both children. Come here. What are you nervous about? Lily curled against Elena's side. What if people don't believe us? What if they think we're faking or dangerous? What if we make it worse instead of better? Azriel sat on the edge of the bed. Lily, do you remember what you told Dr. Vasquez when she first arrived? About choosing the good road? Lily nodded. You said that choosing kindness makes the future brighter, Azrael continued. Tomorrow, we're choosing to be open, honest, and kind. We're trusting that people can understand. That's the good road. The outcome isn't entirely in our control, but the choice is. Kieran signed something, and Azrael translated. He says that when he was younger, he was scared people would always see him as different, as less. But then Father learned sign language, and you came, and Lily came, and the school happened. And now being different feels like being special instead of being wrong. So tomorrow, we get to help other people understand that too. Lily smiled, some of her nervousness fading. You're right. We just have to trust the good road. The open house began at 10 in the morning. The Oracle Academy's grounds had been transformed. Stations were set up where students could demonstrate their abilities. Information booths explained the school's philosophy and methods. Refreshments were provided by the palace kitchens. And security, both vampire and human, maintained a subtle but thorough presence. The first visitors trickled in hesitantly. A few curious parents, some local reporters. Then the crowds grew. Families with gifted children who'd been struggling in regular schools. Educators wondering if this model could be replicated. Even some of the politicians who'd been critical, coming to see for themselves. Lily stationed herself at the welcome area with Kieran. Together, they greeted visitors. Lily speaking and Kieran signing, working as a team. A woman approached, her expression skeptical. You're the one who claims to see the future, she asked Lily. I don't claim to, Lily said politely. I do see it. Not everything and not always clearly. But when I see something, it happens. The woman crossed her arms. Prove it. Lily's eyes went distant for a moment. Then she smiled. Your daughter is going to call you in about 20 minutes. She's going to tell you she got into the college she applied to. The one she didn't think she'd get into. You should answer the phone even though you're here, because she really needs to hear you're proud of her. The woman's expression shifted from skeptical to shocked. How could you possibly? Lily shrugged. I just saw it. Congratulations on raising someone so determined. The woman's phone rang exactly 19 minutes later. When she answered and heard her daughter's excited voice, her eyes filled with tears. She sought out Lily afterward. I'm sorry I doubted you. Thank you for that. My daughter and I haven't been close lately. This call, knowing I should answer, it might have saved our relationship. That's what the gift is for, Lily said simply. Helping people, not scaring them. Throughout the day, similar moments unfolded across the academy grounds. Jasper sat with a grieving father, sensing the man's overwhelming sadness about his late wife, and simply said, She'd want you to know she's proud of you for still showing up for your kids. The father broke down crying, later telling staff it was exactly what he needed to hear. Maya helped an elderly woman find her late mother's wedding ring, which had been lost for 15 years. The ring was exactly where Maya said it would be, tucked in a forgotten jewelry box in the attic. Thomas presented his weather prediction data to a group of farmers, showing how his abilities could help them plan planting and harvesting seasons more effectively. One farmer shook his hand and said, Son, you're not dangerous. You're a blessing. By mid-afternoon, the skeptical energy that had filled the morning had transformed into something else. Wonder, acceptance, understanding. Elena gave a presentation in the main hall, explaining the school's philosophy. These children aren't broken, she said. They're not dangerous. They're simply different, and difference is a strength when properly supported. She gestured to Lily, sitting in the front row. This girl saved hundreds of lives by warning about a bomb threat. Her gift, properly valued and believed, prevented a tragedy. She pointed to Kieran, translating for his father. This boy taught me that communication doesn't require sound. that silence can be full of meaning, that disability and ability exist on the same spectrum of human experience. She rested a hand on her pregnant belly. And the school we've built here? It's not about making these children normal. It's about celebrating them exactly as they are, while giving them the tools to thrive in a world that doesn't always understand them. The applause was genuine and sustained. After the presentation, a politician who'd been vocal in criticizing the school approached Azriel. "I came here today expecting to find evidence the school was dangerous," the man admitted. "Instead, I found children helping people, making the world better. I was wrong, and I apologize." Azriel shook his hand. "Apology accepted. And if you'd like to help us expand this model to other cities, we'd welcome your support." The politician nodded. "You have it. I'll introduce legislation to fund similar programs nationally." Lily appeared at Azriel's elbow. "See?" she signed. "Good road. Brighter future. It's happening just like I saw." The open house concluded at sunset, and the staff gathered to debrief. Dr. Chen reported overwhelmingly positive feedback. Multiple families had already inquired about enrollment. 3 other cities had expressed interest in opening affiliated academies. The critical media coverage they'd feared hadn't materialized. Instead, journalists had filed stories about hope, connection, and the power of understanding. "We did it," Elena said, exhausted but elated. "We actually did it." Lily raised her hand. "Can I say something?" "Of course," Azriel said. Lily stood, and despite being the youngest person in the room, she commanded attention. "When I was at Mercy House, nobody believed me. I felt alone and wrong and broken. Then I came here, and everything changed. Not because I changed, but because people started seeing me differently." She looked around at the assembled staff and students. "That's what we did today. We helped people see us differently. And now other kids won't have to feel alone like I did. That's the best magic of all." The room erupted in applause, and Lily blushed, but smiled. Kieran stood beside her, signing, "My sister is wise." The casual way he signed "my sister" made several staff members tear up. These 2 children, brought together by fate and choice, had become siblings in the truest sense. 2 months later, Elena gave birth to a daughter. They named her Hope, and true to Lily's vision, she had Elena's brown hair and Azriel's silver eyes. Within hours of her birth, the baby opened her eyes and seemed to see something beyond the hospital room. Lily, allowed to visit with Kieran, touched the baby's tiny hand gently. "What do you see?" Elena asked tiredly, but happily. Lily's expression was soft. "Happy things. Just happy things. She's going to see all the good in the world."